The Fort Wayne Philharmonic's Audience Choice Concert is a big fan favorite, and it's been fun to watch the voting take place over the past weeks. The lineup is now official, and joining me to talk about it is J.L. Nave, President and CEO of the Fort Wayne Philharmonic. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So the title of this concert is a pretty big clue, but what exactly is the Audience Choice Concert?
Audience Choice Concert is something that Andrew Constantine, our music director, started last season, so this is only the second time we've done it. And it is the one concert a year where the audience, the general public, gets to program an entire concert, start to finish.
Well, I think there's been a lot of buzz going out about it. I mean, from last year, people get kind of excited to say, oh, I can help choose, my favorite pieces.
Oh, absolutely.
And how, last year when it started and this year, people are doing voting in different ways. How does that work?
Well, when we started it last year, we gave people 30 different choices of composers and of different pieces, and people could fill out ballots and vote for multiple pieces on each ballot, and that voting went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we had about 1,000 or so votes cast during that. This year we learned from that experience a little bit, made it a little easier, and we came up with this bracket system. I really have to give credit to our marketing staff at the Phil for coming up with this. Since we're doing the concert in March, we thought about March Madness.
Yep.
And so
these are like the basketball brackets.
Exactly, just like the basketball brackets. So we had an overture division, a concerto division, a symphony division, and then a bonus piece. And
kind of like the audience favorite of different things.
And so what happened was people could vote. We pitted one piece against the other and then kept coming in until we had the final four. And the final four is what we are performing on Saturday night.
So when did all this voting start?
We started voting in September at the beginning of the season, and it was all finished pretty much by December.
Okay, and this year though was all online, right? So
no, people could also vote at concerts. We had these paper ballots, and again, kudos to our marketing team. They made it really easy. You didn't even have to have a pen or pencil to vote. You literally tore the side of your ballot for the piece that you wanted to vote for. So you didn't have to write anything down. And I think that's really what encouraged so many more people to vote, because we had over 2,500 votes. Oh, wow.
So that's a big increase.
Absolutely.
People, would it make it easy for them to...
And they were serious about voting.
Yeah, no, so when the votes came through, were there clear favorites? I mean, was it obvious, early on who was going to, which piece was going to...
No, absolutely not. No, in fact, we ran a contest within the staff of the Phil to kind of predict, just like people do with the regular brackets.
You're betting on your own.
And it was very, very low accuracy.
Really?
There were some surprises and a couple that we figured were probably going to be selected. But it was just neat to see how those votes came in.
So in each of the categories, each of these four categories, which pieces now have won in those categories?
Sure. Well, the overture will be Khachaturian's Saber Dance, which is just a fun piece there. The concerto is Prokofiev's Second Violin Concerto, and we have Anastasia Agapova from the Curtis Institute of Music that will be our guest artist for that piece. The symphony is Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade, which is awesome in its own right. And the bonus piece is Barber's Adagio for Strings, which is just incredible.
And then just to kind of go one step further with this final four that you're going to be performing, and this is during a normal, this is Masterworks, performance. So during this, then the audience gets to vote one more time on the winner for that evening. Tell me about that process.
Everyone who is in attendance at the concert will get to vote on their favorite of the four.
Okay.
And that will become the ultimate audience choice. And they'll do that by texting a vote.
Okay, so somebody's going to come out and say, ooh, now you actually get to turn
That's
those
right.
cell phones on.
Yes, exactly. This is one time where it's okay to text during the concert. And the audience and we'll all be able to see the results real time for the last couple of minutes of voting. So we'll be able to see how, as people vote, how those percentages change.
Will people be able to vote more than once?
You know, I don't know the answer to that.
Vote early and
yeah,
often.
vote early and often, exactly.
Well, and that live, you know, to see it, your theme this year has been you've got to hear it live.
Yes.
And there really is nothing like being in that audience and hearing and seeing the Philharmonic and, you know, sometimes even feeling them depending on how close you are.
Well, and that's what Karen talked about, you know, as a dancer, when you are with the live orchestra, you really do feel the music.
There is a
you
difference.
don't just hear it.
Yeah. So, but one thing that you're doing though is this concert is going to actually be broadcast as well. So if you can't be live in the audience of the hall, you can still watch it here on 39.
Absolutely.
Live, I mean, it's broadcast live.
This will be a live broadcast here on PBS 39, so it'll be this Saturday at 8 p.m. And of course, we always encourage people to come hear it live because there really is
There's nothing like
no
that,
comparison to it. But we understand, especially for those that live a little further away from Fort Wayne, that perhaps maybe coming in is a little more difficult, but are still within the viewing area. This is an opportunity to catch a Fort Wayne Philharmonic concert as well.
But they won't be able to vote.
No, they won't be. Only the people inside the theater can vote.
I got to go and just remember to take my phone, so I couldn't do that. Now, we were talking a second ago about this collaboration with Fort Wayne Ballet on Cinderella. You know, from your standpoint, you know, what is the Philharmonic's role in that collaboration?
Well, it really is an equal artistic collaboration, and we get together months and months in advance and talk about the ballet, because orchestras often will play scores from ballets just on regular concerts. I mean, that's not unusual.
With no dancers.
With no dancers. So we're fairly familiar with the ballet musical repertoire, and so we rely on each other's strengths to kind of narrow it down to which ballet we want to present for the community each year. And we've been doing this for a number of years.
Well, and it does add such a special element to have somebody else or several somebodies out there on the stage interpreting the music in yet another way that just enhances it.
Yeah, it's so rare to be able to go to a ballet with a live orchestra, and the fact that we're able to do that twice a year here in Fort Wayne with Nutcracker and whatever spring ballet we collaborate on is really something that people even in major American cities no longer have that opportunity to do.
That really is very special for our area. Now, we heard Karen talk a little bit about the rehearsal process with the ballet and the Philharmonic being just a little bit of time, really more than most people realize. How does the Philharmonic, you know, how do their rehearsals work, you know, moving up to a collaboration like this?
Well, for us, rehearsals are about ensemble, putting the music together. So we expect all of our musicians to know their individual notes, their individual parts, before they even show up to the first rehearsal. So when our musicians come to the first rehearsal, it's really up to the conductor to say, okay, we need a little bit more French horns here, we're going to take it at this tempo, we need to balance out the strings a little bit more. It really is about that refining. It's not about, hey, can I play that lick maybe a little slower so I can learn my notes?
Because I don't think a lot of people realize that the Philharmonic musicians, you know, as professionals, they work on their own, and they don't have that many rehearsals. You know, for a big performance anyway. For
a regular Masterworks performance, we have less than 10 hours of rehearsal as the full orchestra. And that may mean you can only go through a particular piece of music maybe 2 or 3 times in that whole rehearsal process.
You better know your stuff.
So you need to know your stuff, and that's what makes them so awesome.
Well, I think for the dancers, for the first time to come into that situation where they are, you know, surrounded by the the musicians on stage, that's got to be a real thrill.
Oh, I think so, and it's a real thrill for the orchestra members as well, because a lot of times ballet is done to taped music, and there's, I guess, a benefit from a dancer's perspective in that it's the same every single time.
Right.
With a live orchestra, there are always going to be small little nuance differences from performance to performance.
Right. Yes, you just,
and that's just the nature of the human element of creating art.
Yeah, that's what's exciting about that live performance. So after this, you're kind of working on your summer plans, but what can we expect from the Philharmonic this summer?
Well, we'll absolutely be doing our Patriotic Pops concerts all over the region. These are incredibly popular. We're up at Lake Wawasee, we're at Pokagon State Park, Wabash State Park down in Bluffton. We'll also do the performance at Follinger Theater in Franke Park here in Fort Wayne. We'll be in Noble County, LaGrange County, so all around that July 4th time period, we'll be spreading that patriotic cheer through our music.
You've been doing that for some time now. I mean, that's
a number of years.
Nice tradition.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think the people in the area really get, it's just such a nice thing to look forward to. It's like, oh, here come the Fort Wayne Philharmonic.
And my favorite is when we're at Pokagon State Park, and you've got Lake James there, and you've got the inn behind you, and about 1,500 people just there in the, on the grass.
Right.
But then you also have all these boats that are out on the water, because we have speakers that we point out toward the water so that the boat people, as we call them, can experience and hear the concert as well.
Wow, that is a very American experience too.
It is.
To be able to have something like that,
fun.
Experience it on a boat or out on the grass. It's nice to hear it live that way too. Okay, so let's chat again about the audience choice. This Saturday.
This Saturday, 8 p.m. at the Hour Performance Hall in the Reinhardt Music Center at IPFW.
Okay.
So that's not our typical Masterworks venue, but we've had the audience choice there last year as well, and that venue's worked very well for us for this concert.
And for tickets?
Tickets, you can give us a call at 481-0777 or online at fwphil.org.
Great. Well, JL, thank you so much for being here.
You've got to hear it live.
You've got to hear it live.
Absolutely.
I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. Nationally, PBS is America's largest stage for the performing arts. Locally, PBS 39 connects you to our region's arts and events here on Arts Weekly. All this is possible because of the lead role you play through your financial support of this station. Make your best donation to PBS 39 today. Go online to WFWA.org or call 484-8839 during business hours. Thanks to your gifts, PBS 39 is your ticket to inspiration and great arts. Please join us for the next edition of Arts Weekly when we chat with Sue Davis to learn about upcoming events at the Orchard Gallery. And also Sam Savage and Brianna Gamble will be here to give us details on the IPFW Opera Ensemble's production of The Magic Flute. As always, for up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here live Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thank you for watching.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.